Hello, Algebra 1. Today we are talking about literal inequalities, and this is an extension of literal equations, which we talked about earlier in the school year. So basically, our inequalities will now have multiple variables, and we will be solving for a given variable. So for example, in this first problem, we are solving for x, and we should know at this point that we will divide by a -4 to do that. But our new skill that we need to be careful of is when we divide by a negative, we do flip our symbol. So 16 divided by -4 is -4. And again, just check it was pointing right and now it is pointing left. So we're all set. Now for our next one, we are still solving for x, but this time we have a -a in front of our x. So we will divide by -a on both sides. Because we divided by a negative, we will flip our symbol. But we can't really do h divided by a, so we're just going to leave it like this. And I'm also going to bring the negative up just so I don't lose it. All right, so it's just not going to simplify. But we're still using the same skills we were before. All right, let's try another one. We're going to solve for w. All right, so to solve for w in this case, since it's dividing by 3, I'm going to multiply by 3. And I am multiplying by a positive, so I'm not flipping my symbol. It's going to stay the same. -9 times 3 is -27. All right, whereas over here, I am solving for w. This time I need to move the x away from the w, and it's dividing by x, so to undo it, we will multiply by x. And again, x is a positive, so we will not flip our symbol. This will just be zx. All right, so now let's go ahead and solve for a. And if you'd like to draw your line through your inequality, you certainly can. To solve for a, we would start by subtracting 3 on both sides. 15 minus 3 is 12. And then to get a by itself, we'll divide by 2. I am dividing by a positive, so I'm not going to flip the symbol. It stays pointing to the right, a greater than. 12 over 2 is 6. All right, so let's use that same format to solve for a this time. There's my a. I need to get rid of my plus c by subtraction. Bring down that ab. I'm going to re-highlight it. So remember, we can't actually do d minus c. They are not like terms, so you're just going to bring it down, d minus c. And next, we'll go ahead, we'll divide by b, and we need to divide each of these by b. And that'll give us a is greater than d over b minus c over b. Okay, so again, this should look familiar from earlier in the semester. The only thing we have to be careful about is making sure that we flip our symbol when we divide by a negative. Okay, number 4, we're going to go ahead and skip that first one. But we're going to do these other 3. So we're solving for h this time. All right, here we go. To get h by itself, we'll subtract our 9, on both sides. And I'm going to line up my -9 underneath the -3 because those are actually like terms. So the 3w will just come down. -3 minus 9 is -12. All right, and then to get h by itself, I'll divide everything by 4. And this is something we will want to math frac. Notice dividing by a +4, so again, the symbol stays the same. 3/4 does not simplify, so I'm just going to rewrite it. But -12 divided by 4 is -3. There you go. All right, still solving for h. So what we're going to do first is, actually, one way you can think of this is multiplying by the reciprocal. Right? This is a 2 over w. So what we can do is multiply by the reciprocal, which is w over 2 on both sides. And the w over 2 is positive, so I'm going to leave my symbol the same, and you can just write this as gw over 2. All right, here's my h. So for this one, you can actually do the exact same thing. We can multiply by the reciprocal, which is m over -5, But what you should notice is that we are multiplying by a negative here. So what is going to have to happen? We are going to flip our symbol. So make sure it was pointed left. It should now be pointing right. And this will just be jm over -5. Or you could bring that negative up if you would like. All right, nice job. Let's continue to the back where we're going to start solving for y. This will be really important for our next lesson. All right, so we're going to go ahead, we're going to get y by itself, and we'll start by dividing by our 2. Okay, it's a positive 2, so my symbol is going to stay the same. This guy right here, it's really a 1/2 x squared. 9 over 2, that doesn't reduce, so I'll just leave it like this. But 18 over 2, that's a 9. So that would be your answer. All right, let's actually come down to number 7 next. Then we'll do 6 and 8. So this one, solving for y, we will need to divide by our -3. But be careful, dividing by a negative means our symbol needs to flip. So it was pointing left, it needs to now be pointing right. And then let's be careful with this division. 21 divided by -3 is -7. Don't lose your x. And 81 divided by -3 is a -27, which you can type into your calculator. Now, 6 and 8 have a little more going on with them because we can see you also have the x on the side with the y. So what we need to do first is move our x over. So see how this is a positive 2x? We're going to move that first by subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 2x on both sides. Now this is something we should be pretty comfortable with because we've done it for graphing quite a few times. We do want to put the -2x first, then put your +14. Again, these can't combine because they're not like terms. Now, to get the y by itself, we'll go ahead and divide everything by 7. It's a positive 7 that we divided by, so our symbol will stay the same. -2/7, that can't reduce, but 14 over 7 is a +2. Okay, and what we're going to learn tomorrow is how to graph that, how this is different with an inequality symbol as opposed to an equal sign. All right, let's try this one more time. Solving for y, first move your x over. It's a positive, so I will subtract it. Yeah, it's a -8y less than or equal to. Again, put your x first. It's a -4x and a +32. And then we still need to get the y by itself, but be careful, we're dividing by a negative. Okay, so automatically make sure you flip that symbol. It was pointing left, it should be now pointing right. -4 divided by -8 is a +1/2 x. 32 divided by -8 is a -4. And there you go. So let's do some assorted review before we call it a day. First, let's review graphing and also some of our interpreting down here. Okay, so the first thing I would do is ordinarily I would move the smaller variable first. And so I'm going to do that again here. I'm going to add the 4x over because -4x is the smaller one. This is 6x. The only thing you have to be careful about is that's going to leave you with a 0 over here. These cancel. But it does give you a positive x and it puts your x on the correct side. So I think the benefit is to move it over. Now we'll have to subtract our 4. 0 minus 4 is -4. And then finally we can divide by 6. And we should simplify that. It will become a -2/3. Notice we did not flip our symbol because we divided by a +6. So when you graph this, your -2/3 is going to come first because it's a negative. Then put your 0, open dot, and we're going to the right. Okay, let's try another one. We will start off by distributing. Watch those signs. -8 times -1 is a +8. All right, next we'll subtract our 8 on both sides. 24 minus 8 is 16. And finally, divide by negative 8 on both sides. But be careful, we divided by a negative, so we will flip our symbol. See how it was pointing right? Now it's going to point left. 16 divided by negative 8. Okay, and it's important we do that because otherwise we're going to graph it wrong. Put your -2 and your 0. This will be a closed dot. And notice we're now pointing left. All right, great. Final thing we're talking about, write an inequality to represent the mathematical statements below. You must be at least 13 to see this movie. At least 13 means 13 or more. So this will be a greater than or equal to. Okay, greater than meaning pointing to the right. This car can hold up to 6 adults. Again, up to 6 adults. This means 6 adults or less. So that would be a less than or equal to, pointed to the left. And finally, we can fit at most 32 students here. At most, that means that 32 is the most, so we can fit 32 or less. So less than or equal to 32. All right, there's only one new lesson left in this unit. Please reach out if you have any questions, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.